Awesome, everybody. Welcome back to another episode to the CVMK show, the Cody Vernon Marshall Kelly show. CVMK, y'all look, subscribe, connect with your man, YouTube at CVMK, Instagram at it is what it is _show, CVMK33 and CVMK _global. And you know where the best supplements are. We've been at a vendor show, so they got some of my product. So I don't have it on hand, but definitely best pre-workout, Warrior Thirst, Superpower, Transform Protein, all the good stuff. We got an amazing episode. We're going to cover the Bradley Beal trade, what's happening in the NBA, Chris Paul being gone, and when you should leave as an athlete, because I think it is vitally important to understand when it is time to go. But just a quick word from our sponsors, and we're going to get into it at the CVM Kelly, CVMK show.
There's a hero in all of us, waiting to be unleashed. All it takes is just that one last push. Activate the hero within with CVMK Global Supplements. All natural, steroid-free, designed to enhance performance, build muscle, and increase energy. You are unstoppable. You can do this. Become your own hero at www.cvmkglobal.store.
All right, y'all know what time it is. www.cvmkglobal.store. Look, I want to get into it. I want to cover this Bradley Beal trade and really break it down and see what it means to us as fans to the NBA. So that being said, let's go get this thing working. All right, so the Bradley Beal trade has just happened, right? I believe it's finalized upon tomorrow. I want to break it down. You know, Bradley Beal was traded from the Washington Wizards. The Washington Wizards superstar, point guard, shooting guard, just traded to the Phoenix Suns for Chris Paul and Landry Shamet. They basically gave up all their depth to get this superstar and formulate a new big three. However, I do believe the era of the big three or the top heavy basketball is over. If anything has been consistent, is that evolution is a must and it's always necessary and it's always in progress. With the winning of the Denver Nuggets, demolishing teams like the Phoenix Suns, who beat Devin Booker and Chris Paul in 6 games and Kevin Durant, and then demolishing the Lakers, swept them, beat Minnesota. You need depth, right? So I want to break down and examine, even though the team might be arguably more talented, Phoenix Suns might be a weaker team overall. Beal, who is 30 years of age, 6'4", 207 pounds. Writer ESPN Kevin Pelton explains his reasoning for grading the trade in this story. He wrote that it's the worst yet. Beal is nearly in 5-year contract signed with Washington less than a year ago. Pelton wrote on Sunday, salary increases to $57 million in 26-27 with a player option, where Beal will be 33 years of age. An escalating salary cap will likely grow faster than Beal's contract, but not enough to offset the age-related decline. That's why his return to the Wizards got in terms of picks and players is commensurate with Beal's reputation as a player. Pelton continued to say more so than whether Beal was right star to pursue to go with Booker and Durant. The question is, are the Suns, whether adding a star was the right move as opposed to try to use Paul's contract to beef up their depth with multiple contributors? I think Kevin hit it on the head. It's not an issue of if Beal can play. We all know how talented he is. Beal is a bucket. He is Mr. Bucket, in my opinion. I mean, fantastic. He's a scorer. He's great locker room, great energy, positive leader. He does a lot for the youth. Beal is somebody who you would want in your franchise. The problem with Beal is that what you gave up to get him isn't worth the acquisition. So yes, you move off of an aged not an aging, but an aged and probably near retirement superstar in Chris Paul, to get somebody who is now aging. He's not a young gun. He's been in the league a while. He's now in his 30s, and even though the longevity with health and science has increased, age is still age. 30 is still 30. And you give up depth. You give up, defensive presence. You give up picks. You give up the ability to build and rebuild for someone that's top heavy, and you're at the salary cap as is, with only $4 million remaining, and you still have DeAndre Ayton's contract to worry about. If you sign Ayton, that places you over the salary cap, and then you basically, you're penalized. You have to pay this financial penalty for doing so, right? So then who do you get? And I understand Matt Ishba's the new owner. Are you gonna just, reach into the pockets and spin? The problem with this is that there isn't enough coin to go around, and there's not enough basketballs. Even if the coin issue wasn't an issue, Bradley Beal is a scorer who facilitates. Devin Booker is a scorer who facilitates. Kevin Durant is a scorer who facilitates. They're not facilitators who score. They're not like a LeBron James, who is actually a facilitator, who is just a dynamic scorer because he can score in a multiplicity of ways. These three individuals are scorers first, then facilitators. So when you're in the playoffs and, it's game 6 and you're tired and the legs are heavy and you need a defensive stop and you need assists and you can't just outscore everybody, and all of a sudden now it's grit and hard work and talent, who do you call on? And then, because Kevin Durant's health has been an issue over the last couple of years since the Achilles tore back in Golden State, Bradley Beal has had his share of injuries. Thankfully, Devin Booker hasn't been in the playoffs. He was nagged by a couple injuries back-to-back pro seasons. If injury strikes again and you're down 3, from 3 stars to 2, or even worse, from 2 to 1, who comes off the bench to help carry the load? And this is why it can't just be about being top heavy. It's great to have this immensurate amount of talent, this, dynamic ability to score and really go after it. But when you think about the ability to maintain the ebbs and flows of the regular season, the personnel, the travel, the nutrition, when you think about the health, you think about the playoffs, you think about defensive strategy, you think about when the game slows down, when refs aren't calling as many elusive calls, are you in a position to win it? You're not a contender. The playoffs showed you that the best team in the NBA is the Denver Nuggets. I still have the Lakers over you from a talent and depth perception, right? Minnesota is young. They're chomping at the bit. If Anthony Edwards, develops, becomes more mature in his game, Karl Anthony Towns more mature in his game, Rudy Gobert steps up, can you compete with them? Oh, let's not forget about Memphis. Let's not forget about John Company. Even with all the off-the-court issues, they're still a formidable, opponent. Are you even the 4th or 5th best? Oh, because we forgot about Golden State. So you might not even be the 5th best team in the West. And then you made yourself worse from a depth perspective, from a defensive perspective. And so, you can light it up. It can be an all-star game. I think this is going to be this is going to be the most exciting team for the first half of the season, first quarter of the season. Offensively, you guys are going to be great. I think November and December is going to be the month where, you guys ball out. But as the season progresses, as the weather gets colder, as we start going from fall to winter, and from winter to spring, is Bradley Beal enough? That's my question. Not is he enough as a talent? Are the Phoenix Suns enough as a team? And I just don't know if the Phoenix Suns are ready for that. I want to get Chris Paul's reaction because I thought this was interesting because this really highlights the business of the sport. So let's play it and get his reaction, courtesy of Good Morning America.
Excited for our next guest. He's a 12-time NBA All-Star and 2-time Olympic gold medalist. And now Chris Paul has written a new memoir, 61, celebrating the life and lessons of his grandfather, known as Papa Chili. Chris, thank you for joining us this morning. Give it up for Chris Paul, everybody. Yes. Now, I'm driving in this morning, and we have the sticker tape thing outside of our building.
What is
and
that?
I see this potential blockbuster deal between you and Bradley Beal that may take you from Phoenix to Washington and vice versa. I was surprised. What are your first thoughts on that?
I was surprised too. I found out on the plane yesterday flying here for this. You know, it's, in this league, anything can happen. So you just figure out what's next.
You literally found out on the plane.
Absolutely.
Wow. What was your first reaction?
Don't push him any further. He's trying.
I want to pause there. It's a business. What did he say in Purple Rain? He said, Blake, this is a business. Chris Paul is a bona fide superstar. No question. Hall of Famer. No question. Outstanding husband, father. Role model. Supports HBCUs. I would love to have Chris Paul in my organization. If I was an NBA owner, I would get Chris Paul. But a decision was made from a business standpoint. But a business standpoint disrupts personal involvement because business is personal too. And if a business can do this, can a player? Can an employee? Why do you have to be loyal to an organization that is not loyal to you? If the opportunity makes sense, is it worth pursuing? And this is where I want to kind of get into it. The ability to, when should an athlete leave versus stay? Loyalty versus opportunity. The Phoenix Suns had the opportunity to continue with Chris, restructure Chris's deal, retire him a son, give him a farewell tour, put the pieces around Chris so that he can go out as a champion, but they couldn't get it done. They fell short, and then they fell shorter after they've been to the NBA Finals, right? And then they progressively have done worse. And the organization decided to make a move to basically, put the company first, get a younger talent base, market toward a different demographic, move in a different direction from its current leadership. They let Monty Williams go. They let Chris Paul go. They've gone in a completely different direction. I raised the question, do companies care? Do organizations care? If you're running an organization, you're going to do what's in the best interest of the organization. And typically that means what's in the best interest of its profitability, its marketability, and its winnability. If you don't align with that, you are subjugated to be canceled. Fair? Probably not. Business? Yes. Life? Definitely. And because there's this ambiguous relationship between employer and employee, the question is, do individuals have the same right? If you can bounce, can't I bounce? Can't I pursue greener pastures? Is my integrity in question simply because I found an opportunity that is better? Or should I just be grateful to exist? I think most people are humble, good in nature, good spirited, want to do right at all times, regardless of if they come short, want to be in a situation of long-term appeal, want to contribute, want to create a family-like structure. But how much of that is actually visible to the point that you have to silence yourself for the appearance of gratefulness? I don't think gratefulness is the absence of understanding one's talent. In the words of Cam Newton, there's not 32 other quarterbacks better than me. And I have to agree. And then this is a prime reason why, even in business, even in loyalty, you do have to be mindful that they can move on, that there are other options. And I think Chris Paul said it best. I have to focus on the next thing. I'm not bitter, I'm not upset, I'm not mad. But the next thing is the next thing. And you move on from that chapter. Shout out to the book. We got to get him on here. The Memoir 61. Would love to have him on here. This has brought up some interesting things. Self-confidence. And I'm going to talk about self-confidence because is it a drug or is it a medicine? And this is in leadership. This is in everything. Because self-confidence really, brings about a lot of how you go about it. So I'm going to play this little clip. We're going to break it down on. This was a podcast on Patrick Beverly's podcast at Rome. And Gilbert Arenas was a featured guest. So let's talk. Let's watch and examine it.
I'm the dude that's
Pat, dude, he's off the first grade. Pat know each other, but we'll definitely get to know one another a little bit better over the next, half hour, 45, whatever it may be.
all right.
Hey, let's go ahead. Let's get the bullshit out the way real quick. Y'all did a take about the comment Karl Anthony Towns made.
Yeah.
You got who's the bald head guy? What's his name?
Rashad McCants.
Right. No. Okay, so you have Rashad McCants,
Josiah Johnson.
Okay. So first off,
Kenyon Martin.
Okay. So the cat take. Did you guys actually watch the pod, or you guys watch clips of the pod?
They just showed us the clips.
Okay, so that's why your answer was kind of ignorant.
Okay, probably.
Yeah. So, because the take was
ignorant.
Because if you listen to the pod spoke about how we got together team-wise, camaraderie, not about the success we had on the basketball court and where that took us to a play-in champ. The question was camaraderie, a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 17 years or whatever years it is. We coming together in 3 months, us not knowing each other, us getting it off the rip, brand new coach, brand new system out there. Like, that was the argument. So, did Rashad McCants ever tell you his history with me?
Nah.
Very much. I made him quit.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we tried out for the Lakers early in my career. It was just me and him in a workout. Quit it.
Oh, man.
So anything he says, I can't take anything.
Oh, I gotta put that in my notes.
No, it's gonna go viral after we done here. That's how this shit go here. Brandon Jennings. Okay. Just gonna leave it right there. So yeah, half your crew I done ran through already. So like, they voicing like opinions. I really can't motherfucker that quit. I really can't honor shit he say. So now we cool.
Okay.
Now we can put a vibe for it. I'm cool now. Okay, I'm cool now. Let me cross my leg. I'm in London right now too, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Pat came in on the warpath, dude. He's off the first grade.
Yeah. Bradley beats the queen.
Yes. There we go.
Regardless, though, we are still happy to have you on the show. But I want to know, as you heard those takes last week, as we had Karl Anthony Towns on this very show. I want to know, Gil, what your thoughts are now that you know the context and kind of what your perception of what he said was, because I think you said it was kind of ridiculous that he thought that he would be remembered as someone who changed the game, and you wondered to yourself, you were like, was I like that when I was a player? Like, did I have that self-confidence in myself?
No, I mean, listen, to be great, to be at that next level, it is all confidence, right? It has nothing to do with, everyone has skill, everyone has talent, right? The things that separate everyone is the confidence, the thought process, the mindset of how we look at situations, how we go into situations. So
I think that says a lot. And I want to pause there. Gilbert Arenas hits on, forget the funny stuff that Pat Bear brought up, but Gilbert Arenas hits on a true pillar or foundational element. Everybody has skill. right? If you put one doctor against another doctor that specializes in this focus, and they all have the same, specialities, what's going to separate them is experience, technology, innovative bedside manner. But ultimately, they're all trained in the same mode. It really brings out persona, what you vibe with, right? Confidence is the making of that, the assurability of self-worth or self-ability in a particular field at a particular time, doing a particular function. Can it be misleading? And that's why I called it a drug. I think it can be when it's overdosed, I think sometimes we operate in a heightened sense of illusion or faith and to power through. And there's benefit to that. There's an eternal and soteriological benefit to that. But it also can be medicinal. It can be what you need in order to heal. Self-confidence is something that every human being should possess, at least to a certain level. You should be comfortable in your own skin, right? And doing what allows you to be done. So maybe not is a faith versus fact, but is a faith that is married to fact, or a fact that is tied and partnered with faith. And it allows you to push through, and allows you to continue, and allows you to go, right? Because the truth of the matter is quitting is not an option, right? You have to have something that is not scientifically based, but that can be validated and stamped empirically for you to be trusted, for you to be stamped. And that's all Gilbert Arenas is pointing to, right? Like, you have to have this in you in order to be the athlete, to be the leader, to be the husband, to be the wife, to be the CEO, to be the entrepreneur, to be the pastor, to be whoever you're called to be, whoever you need to be. You have to have this absorbing sense of power and truth. So it is definitely can be toxic when it is misuse, but it is definitely needed. Shout out to the Pat Bev podcast with Rome. Great podcast, hilarious, and Gilbert Arenas always brings the energy. But definitely self-confidence is a drug, but it is also medicinal. So shout out to them. Shout out to them. But I definitely want to get into it. Just cover a few things. When we go back, I really want to recap and discuss some of the things that I think is really pushing the narrative of this upcoming NBA season, and then what we should expect from the draft, what we should expect from the retool of the branding, and then how the players exit. Just a quick word from our sponsors.
I literally just tried the best pre-workout on the planet. With Superpower pre-workout, you have increased focus and a power boost every single time you work out. It's not only packed with 225 milligrams of caffeine, but it also has citrulline and creatine. It's insane how much energy and focus I had during my workouts. If you're ready to take your workouts to the next level, then ditch your current pre-workout and get the Superpower pre-workout to be your own hero.
All right, y'all, www.cvmkglobal.store. Get your Superpower pre-workout, Transform, Protein, Warrior Thirst pre-workout, all the good stuff. Super thick creatine. You'll love it. Trust me. So we talk about the new NBA. We talk about retooling, a different level of focus, and a different expectations. The draft is Thursday the 22nd. Victor Wembanyama is expected to be number 1, Scoot number 2. The NBA has changed. It's no longer the Iverson, T-Mac, Kobe, LeBron. It's just a different league. The only one from that era that is still there and is still influential is LeBron James. He has lasted through the test of time. But like everything, all good things, are coming to an end. Obviously, I still believe he can crank out one more championship before it's all said and done. But the game has shifted. It is younger. It is less athletically dependent, and it's more based on international play. You're seeing the coming of the international superstars. The league is no longer dominated by the American athlete, which is totally fine. let the best human being win, right? In this case, the best individuals, the best men out there. You have Giannis, you have Nikola, you have Luka. You just have a plethora. You have Joel Embiid. These are all MVP candidates. All have one MVP except I think Luka. And then after that, who? LeBron, KD, Kyrie, Steph. And what we're seeing here is a league that is trying to rebrand itself. It's trying to market toward a different demographic. It's trying to restructure so that the organizations can have more power economically, more power over the contracts, a more brand specific league, more like the NFL, but not as controlling as the NFL. They still want their players to be human beings and have voices, but not be the loudest, one in the room, right or wrong. So as you see the new CBA, you see the restructuring, you see the hard salary caps, you see the penalties for exceeding such, you're going to see leagues now really become more strategists. The office individuals, the top execs are now really running, and they've kind of taken the power back, so to speak. And I think this is a fair warning. I think the athletes, and this is why you got to understand it is a job. And in as much as, you're getting all these millions of dollars, you're still an employee. And as an employee, you have to understand that the business need is going to supersede your need. And as the athlete, and even though you're getting these millions of dollars and you're getting the shoe contracts and you're getting the YouTube podcasts that go instantaneously viral and you start off with 100,000 to 1 million subscribers, you're still an employee. And like the employees, there's some difference. So the real shift in the narrative is has the athletes understood and waking up to the reality is you have to be focused on your craft as well as your business. I think this has been an amazing time of seeing the growth from, your business doing things, the commercializations, having multiple revenue streams, but where the American athlete has lost some of its luster is in the winning itself. All the other stuff only matters if you win. And if you don't get back to winning, they're going to find somebody else who can win. And if they find somebody else who can win, they will replace you and they will win. So it's great. And I think Gilbert Arenas has said, I think you have to have the self-confidence and, this just magnetic energy so that you can be the one. But in the focus of Karl-Anthony Towns, until you get an MVP, until you get an All-Star Game MVP, until you get something, first team, best player, Larry Bird trophy, a finals MVP, until you're recognized as that guy, you can't make that statement. I'll be back with my final word. Hey, what's up? It's CVMK33. Look, I want you to subscribe, hit the notification bell, subscribe here, everywhere, so you can get the latest and greatest of this podcast content. Stay tuned. All right, y'all, subscribe at YouTube, CVMK. So we talk about what that means, right? We talk about how to excel at the craft. From a fan perspective, fans want to see their athletes doing the work. They want to see their athletes in the gym. They want to see their athletes grinding and sweating, putting on muscle, adding to their game. They don't want to see their athletes in the headlines making controversy. They understand you're human. They understand you make mistakes. They don't want your mistakes to be on Twitter. It's not that there's hypocrisy or duality, because human beings are human beings. But you can't be flawed and not a winner. You can be a flawed winner, but when you're flawed and not a winner, that's when people can get offended really quickly, and they get short leashes, and they get tired of you because they say, well, you're not healthy, you don't step up, they can't depend upon you, and that's when they start drafting your replacement, or you get traded, or you find yourself, in a different league because you're no longer marketable to them. Unfortunately, The best player doesn't always get selected. The best talent doesn't always win. But the grinder, the one who's willing to go all out, will always have an audience. My word to you is allow that confidence to be the thing that drives you forward. This has been another episode of CVMK Show. Look, the best podcast show. We cover everything from sports to faith to business. I want you to subscribe, YouTube, CVMK. Hit me up on the gram, CVMK33. It is what it is _show, CVMK _global. Go to www.cvmkglobal.store where the best workout supplements are. I want you to recover well. I want you to get the body you deserve. www.cvmkglobal.store. Till next time, guys. Thanks.